We are
Didi
and Arma, and in our daily lives, we support people on the path of self-liberation. We teach time-tested energy skills like Qigong, Tai Chi, internal alchemy, traditional nutrition, and meditation.
We help people release stagnation, build energy, and become aligned with themselves and their purpose in life.
In this podcast, we share the methods, skills, and solutions that helped us, our students, and now hopefully you move forward.
Let's explore transformation together.
Welcome to our podcast. So, coming June 10th, we are organizing a 2-hour live event on Zoom about awakening the energy body, and you can still join this workshop. And today we are talking about the effect of that. So what happens when we start awakening the energy body? What changes? What is the paradigm shift that takes place when we become energy aware? And yeah, that's going to be the conversation today.
Yeah. So let's start with you. What happened when you became more energy aware, when that shift started?
Well, when it started happening to me, I found everything I was looking for before. That was hard then become easier when I was energy aware in my training. So I came into the training because I was looking for more stillness, more balance, becoming more present, etc., etc. And when I became energy aware in my training, it was just a byproduct of that. So this shift of frequency, if you will, to this gave me this stillness, gave me the focus, gave me more concentration, gave me more of the moment, a stronger connection with myself. I already established a strong physical foundation with myself, which helped tremendously. Do that, train that, become a strong energy conductor, elastic being. But shifting your mind actually to the frequency of energy is a total different animal. So when that started taking place, my whole life changed.
Yeah.
And I guess for you, that was the same, right?
Yeah. If I go back to, almost a long time ago, when we started with the exercise, actually, because it was like coming home in a way. When I started to feel energy through this exercise, I was like, oh, I know this feeling very well. But now I have an entrance into it. And I can start building a stronger energy being, or getting that connection stronger, so to say. And at first, sometimes it was stronger. Sometimes I had some difficulty finding it again.
Yeah, sure. That happens in the beginning for sure. Yeah.
And we go to the stages after this. So, but what I felt for myself is that I got more aware of my energy and experiencing more, and I got this connection with my surrounding much more, because when you experience yourself as an energy being, after a while you experience that everything is energy. And it was in the time when I also was studying herbs, and I met some people, and they said, just easy. You can feel the energy of the herbs, and just try. And you feel that the energy of this plant, you can feel it best here, and this plant is a bit more there. And I was like, whoa, this is really magical, you know. But because I was training the Qigong, I was like, it made so much more sense than people who were there and had never experienced energy.
Right.
And were if you want to feel a plant, you feel the physical plant and not the energy. So
that's a beautiful shift, right?
Yeah.
But going back a little bit about what you said, I think this is for people, and this happened to me as well. Obviously, when you start becoming more energy aware, and we'll go back and forth a little bit in the beginning, because we as human beings have, it's okay, let's start with when you become more energy aware, there's more of an expansion going on.
Yeah.
So it's an expansive state you're in, right? It's more of an open state. Mentally, you're more open. You're focused on a feeling, etc. Whereas normally, as human beings, growing up, we get more contracted. So that's the shift. You go from expanded. Oh, there's that feeling again, to more of an analyzing state. So the analyzing, rational brain will take over and lead you back into where your default state had developed up till then.
Yeah.
But now we're putting something out there, an experience which helps us to this expansive state. So it goes back and forth a bit in the beginning. But the first stage of course of this training is this discernment thing. It's like, oh wow, there is energy, right? And so we are discerning it. It's like I'm here and there's this feeling. And that might shift a bit in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it already opens a door. It does.
Absolutely.
Right?
You have this experience.
You have this experience, right? So, and this experience leads to other plateaus, and if you just keep following it. But in the beginning stage, it's very important that from this discerning phase in the beginning, we start going to an attachment phase where we start realizing out of experiences that we are energy. We are this feeling. Yeah. And in the beginning, it's not that because you're so trained to, giving everything a word and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, there's this feeling, beautiful. But we want to make this shift. We want to make the shift to like, I am actually energy. And then there's more stillness happening. There's this something, it morphs in each other. So your mental and your feeling starts lining up with the physical and everything starts to become one. And this is experience of I am energy. And this, I guess, is the paradigm shift.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because now you become sensitive of yourself as I am energy. So if I'm energy, this person in front of me is also energy.
Yeah.
And how is this interaction between us? What's going on?
Yeah.
But as you said, and there's nature. And this is...
Especially...
It's the same thing. It's like saying, so I am here and there's nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. But... If you go to an attachment phase, you realize everything is energy. Yeah. Now you are nature. You go from this separated thing all over to like this is this. You come to but all is one because what we share is energy.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So your energy field. I'm already in your energy field, and I'm very aware of it, and I can feel it and sense it. So the whole perspective of you as a human being and your reality starts shifting tremendously.
Absolutely.
And this gives you a chance to rise above the physical plateau that most of us, sadly, are locked into most of the time.
What we've been taught as well.
Sure. So, you start living more and more in your rational brain coming up. Before that, if there's no words yet, you cannot talk, there's another reality for you.
Yeah.
But once the words start coming in, we start to differentiate. And we start calling things stuff. And now you become this thing that's not connected with, because you are here and this tree is there. Yeah. And not this tree, this birch, right? Or this oak, or this, you know what I mean? So, if you look at the first sentence in the Tao Te Ching, the famous Taoist book, it says something like the real Tao cannot be named. Because if you give it a name, it's not the Tao anymore. No. But we do it.
We do it all the time.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's how we grow up, right? So we lose this sense of this other connection, which, I guess you grow up with when you're really young and you're just like a fish in water, not realizing there's water, but you start coming more and more into a contracted space. Right, and what this does is turn that around, so you become more energy aware, but on all these different levels.
Yeah.
Now, so that's what you were talking about as well is a huge transformation, obviously.
Absolutely, and while you become more aware of your energy being, it's also that you can feel that, what have I done the last day? And I can feel it through different layers of myself. Not just, I can feel if I've been drained of energy.
Yeah.
And it's so much more clear than when you've just had your physical realization.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this interaction, I guess you're talking about, so where's your
Yeah.
energy going? We've been talking about this in the last podcast. So I think this awareness stage, there's different stages to it, right? First, you have to become aware of like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, and something happened. There was an interaction with somebody or a situation with multiple people, whatever. And you come home, you're like, next day, you're like, oh man, I feel drained. We're like, oh, wait a minute. I got caught up in it, you know, and I let my energy just, you know, being sucked away or whatever, or I gave it away because I tried to convince something or somebody or whatever. Now, the next step would be, and if this situation would repeat, there's another thing. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I'm more aware of it now when I come in, so that when it happens, I might have, you know, some consciousness at that moment that I can make another decision in the moment. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Or, you know, you can deal with it a little bit better. And I think that the more masterful state is like you decide how you come into a situation. Energy-wise, right? Because you have experience with it now, and you're like, okay, wait a minute, I'm not even going there. Yeah. You know, I can say no to things. I can also stop it. You know, or I can just say yes, or I can say no, because if you're unconsciously, which most people of course experience, you come into situations, and it's like there's all these interactions going on in family or work situations, whatever, and you know, and you go about that completely unconsciously. It just goes. But once you've opened the door to energy awareness, you can become more masterful about these situations, and it might actually help the situations. Saying no sometimes is a good thing, is a very underestimated thing. But because we've been brought up well, be polite, good manners, we just keep spending energy in certain situations where, you know, unconsciously, if someone else is totally unconscious of it, you know, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That's not helping you or yourself or this person. You become more energy aware. You decide where this energy is flowing, right? And this is about self-liberation. This is about becoming very aware of where your energy is going and where you're spending it, and how you can bring this energy into the world in a more helpful way for the benefit of everything, for all living creatures, all living beings, you know, because you become aware of that as well. Your energy has an influence. We've been brought up that with a very low self-esteem, most of us, like you don't have any influence at all. You're small. You're a grain of sand in the Sahara. You have no influence. But that's not true. No. It's just simply not true. You're a microcosm in the macrocosm. You have influence. Your energy does have influence.
You reflect on everything else.
Exactly. Yeah. So now you become energy aware. You can see, okay, so what am I eating? Where am I spending my money on? Where is this energy going? What am I buying and why? And because it's all, and is this helpful for the larger good or not?
Yeah.
You become more aware of that as well. You start taking better care of yourself.
Yeah. And it first reflects on you. So you feel that your decision has an impact on you.
Yeah.
So you feel that in your own energy. And when it feels draining, it drains others as well. So it's this whole, give and taking interaction that you become so much more aware of.
Yeah, you can just feel it. You're in this flow. It's just happening. It's happening now, people. Yeah. It's just happening right now. It's this energy exchange, right? So this is a tremendous shift, obviously. So first stage, discernment. There's energy.
Yeah.
Great. Then attachment. I am energy. And then the next level would be put your willpower on that. Mm-hmm. You're training that, and it's like, because everything is mental in the end. The you, that's the highest part in you. So your mental, where you put your mind, where you put your focus, that's where energy is going.
Yeah.
So building willpower is very important if we want to build more energy. And that has to do with a lot of concentration. Willpower is concentration. And now that you're in contact with the fuel which supports this concentration, now the energy can rise. Now you can start building internal power. It's very important. Willpower is a huge aspect of that as well. So we start building willpower, and that's a route in itself. It's like you focus, concentrate, becoming more still, becoming more present. That lights the fire even more, etc., etc. Until you feels like, wow, I'm a very concentrated human being in this reality. I start growing, and the fourth stage would be just persistent. Be persistent in that, and just keep doing that, and then the story will unfold because a path opens. Right? You allow this path to happen through these four stages. And these four stages, so discernment, attachment, willpower, and persistence, these four help you with anything that comes after it, right? Because this is just the first stage, awakening the energy body. But then, you become more, then you go into the transformation, start exploring all these different realms, like the mental plateau, the astral plateau, akasha, light, all these, you can travel through all these layers. But for that, you need willpower. For that, you need focus and concentration.
Yeah.
So concentration is very hard when you're not in tune with your energy body, because you're disconnected from the fuel. And this was one of the most important lessons I've ever learned in this, is that your concentration needs fuel. But where is your fuel coming from? Is there fuel for concentration? Or are you somewhere sabotaging yourself in that? Most people are. They sabotage themselves.
Yeah.
Right? They think they give themselves energy with how they were, with food and drinks or whatever, their lifestyle. But actually it's all false. And they become dependent on all these external things. Yeah. So a large part of this as well is recognizing that in yourself and leaving this stuff behind, because it's actually toxic. It's not helping you at all, right? So can you get into the pure energy? Yeah. Et cetera, et cetera. So, this is something I wanted to share with you as well, because a non-concentrated human being is like a leaf in the wind, people. It's just not going anywhere. Well, not where it wants, probably.
Well, it's taken away by other beings, people, energies, but not a focus, not a concentrated.
So liberating yourself from that, and this obviously is a journey that just keeps continuing, gets you into another place. And now you can come into a place of, like, we start climbing this energy ladder, and we become more aware of something larger than ourselves, which we are part of. Yeah. And once we start realizing that there's something wants to move through you, okay, now we become a little bit more humble and like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. But this is the adventure. Yeah.
That's also quite a shift when you experience that, what life wants from you instead of what you want from life. It's
totally different.
These big shifts that you go through.
Absolutely, well said. Path. And it starts with this.
Yeah.
It starts with, wait a minute, there's energy.
Yeah. It's not just a concept. It's not something written down in all these books.
It's an experience.
It's really something there, and it's something that you can feel, that you can experience, that you can play with, where you can... read all these Taoist texts, etc. And what they want you to experience out of these texts is this, this thing is like, wait a minute, come into the moment, become still, start experiencing, start feeling, and start the way back. Yeah, and becoming such a powerful being, because if you are aware of this energy, then you have so much more, opportunity to experience strength, to experience that you are this energy. Yeah.
Yeah, and that something wants to move through you.
Absolutely.
Right? And that your spirit can connect to. And so this is spiritual practice. We're step by step, we're going to the spiritual by observing
Yeah.
becoming the observer, and then, wait a minute. I'm part of something larger. Whereas normally we would be like contracted and like coming from this lower mental state. And that's the thing. That's the shift we're trying to achieve here.
Absolutely. Wow.
So, hope that was interesting, and hope to see you the 10th of June. Click on the link on the description. You will find all information there, right?
Great.
Beautiful.
Well, hope to see you there, and otherwise see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.